Hello, everyone. I'm Demetrius Coleman, a lead media student, and welcome to BGU's Instagram Live. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Arianna, a global intern in Southeast Asia. She also happens to be my sister. So I'm going to try and see if I can add her now.
There I am. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. That's good.
It's so cool seeing your face this way. This is kind of weird. We've never done this before.
Yeah, it is. Um, so I guess to start off, what is like do you have any fun moments or anything from internship?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of fun moments so far. I'm entering my 6th month here, which is crazy to think about. It's been almost half a year. But yeah, I think most fun that I have is usually spent with people, whether that's my team or friends that I've made here. But I think the most fun experience that I've had so far was during our first month here. My whole team went snorkeling together, and that was something I'd never done before. And I love the ocean. I love the water and fish and boats and everything. So that was definitely something that I would do again. And we were just the ocean was beautiful and so clear and blue, and I had a really fun time doing that. So hopefully I can do it again before I leave here. But yeah, that's probably my top one of my top fun memories so far.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, that's really cool. But would you like to introduce yourself or anything?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Sorry.
hey everyone, I'm Arianna. I'm in Southeast Asia, like he said. I'm Demetrius's sister. And yeah, I'm a junior overseas right now. So I guess that's the gist of me
Okay,
in this context.
cool.
Oh, also, I guess I'll say what my major is. I'm majoring in education in missions slash Bible, and Bible and theology. So yeah.
So, what's like a typical day for you there? Like, what do you usually do?
Um, okay, so typical day here, no day is the same for me. When it comes to like Monday through Saturday, all those days are different because I have a different schedule each day. So uh, it's different now that I've started like my job here, and um, it's hard. I don't know. I guess I should choose just one day. So like I guess on a busier day I might have like class. I go to language class. I have tutoring once a week and then a group class once a week. And so my group class is usually in the morning. And hi Mandy and John. Sorry, I just saw that comment. And so yeah, I'll have class some days, and then I'll have my actual job, my min. And so right now I am working with two of the girls on my team, and we are hosting English clubs where we are right now. And so I have had the opportunity to just build relationship and community with a group of young women, and we have that weekly. And so yes, we get together and we do different activities and try to help them with their English. A lot of them already know English somewhat, but we go over things that they may not understand, more like grammatical things, and we play games and eat snacks and really just build relationships, a community that they can have together, not only with us, but also together. And so that's definitely the highlight of my week is when I'm able to do English club. And there are a couple other English clubs that we're organizing to, one for children and another one for another group of girls that's mainly like younger teenage, and they don't speak any English at all. So it's different for the for each club, but that's definitely the highlight of my week. And then there's team times, and um, yeah, then there's homework, of course, and so I have to fit that in, and just trying to take care of myself and my house and all that. So yeah, no day is the same, but that's I guess, a glimpse into what my week is like.
That's really cool and interesting. Yeah. So, what do you think the most difficult thing about like adjusting to the culture there would be?
Uh, Most difficult. There, I think early on, which I still find sometimes here, I mean, sometimes now, it's just the smallest things were the most difficult for me. It wasn't like, oh man, I'm suddenly in this whole new world. It was just like little tiny things like going to the grocery store and not being able to read any of the labels or figure out what you needed. And that's a lot better now that I know more of the language. I can do all those things, and it's more like second nature. Still use Google Translate sometimes, but so it's little things like that, or just the different types of food, or yeah, just the small things, or like, you can tell like when you walk outside your house, like, okay, I'm in a different place, and adjusting to the feeling of just in a whole new environment was really hard at first. So yeah, there wasn't just one thing. It was like a combination of a lot of little things that kind of just would overwhelm sometimes, or like trying to order transportation or food, and somebody calling you, and just you hear like a different language rattling off in your ear, and just like, I have no idea what you're saying, and not really being able to respond. So like I said, a lot of that has gotten a lot better now, but I still run into those problems where it's just like, yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but yeah, that's probably the most difficult thing.
Okay, and keeping on the line of like culture, um, are there things that you still find difficult or like obstacles? And also, what do you like love about the culture? I guess that's different from here.
Yeah, so like things that may be harder, and then things I love about the culture.
Yeah.
So I think the single hardest thing for me right now about this culture specifically is it's very relaxed, which is a good thing, but can also be annoying sometimes because it's different than fast paced. Um, Western cultures like America, where you go to a restaurant, or um, you're sitting like somewhere like at a grocery store or whatever, and people usually are trained to service you with like a sense of urgency. I know this personally because I worked in customer service like the whole time I had a job in the US. But here it's just like you might order something, or you might get to the checkout counter, and it takes a long time, and you're just like, what are you doing though? Like, I'm waiting. People might, like, the people behind the counter might be talking to each other, and you don't know what's going on in the kitchen if you order your food. Like, if you're going out to eat or whatever, you just plan for it to be a whole like experience. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go get something to eat real quick. There is no real quick about it. It's just like, your patience is definitely taught a lot. And I considered myself a pretty patient person before coming here, but that has been tried a lot, because sometimes when you really actually need to be somewhere on time, you may be waiting for a taxi for like 15 minutes, or the food that you ordered may not actually get here at the time that you thought it was. So it is definitely more relaxed, and that can be hard for someone who's used to more of a fast-paced environment. So yeah, but that of course is a good thing because it does build patience, and that's always a good thing. As far as things that I love about the culture, I love how people oriented it is. That also goes into how relaxed it is. Um, I really love how people really do focus on relationships, and it's not unusual to just stop what you're doing and have a conversation with someone and invite them over to your house or whatever. And when you're planning to hang out with like a friend, a local friend, it's not just a quick 1 or 2 hour thing. It's usually going to be like the whole afternoon or the whole evening or sometimes the whole day. Like, people really do value each other, and that's something that I definitely want to like internalize and take back with me when I go to the States. It's just to focus more on valuing people and not necessarily like the job you have to do or whatever it is that may seem more important. Yeah, so I really love that about Southeast Asia.
Cool. Um, so, what type of things like do you eat there and like the
Well,
different
here on the island that I live, rice, of course, is a big thing. Rice is a big thing in Asia in general, but rice is the number one food. Like there's a saying
okay.
that says you haven't eaten unless you eaten rice. So that's something that honestly I didn't enjoy that much when I first got here because I don't necessarily like I don't love rice. And I've gotten to the point where I actually do really like it. It's something that is like, oh yeah, I'll eat some rice or whatever. Especially how they cook it here. I like the white rice here. Um, so yeah, rice is a big thing, and fried rice and chicken, seafood is also a big thing. I am limited on what I can try, unfortunately, because I have allergies, and that's something I really hate because I'm the kind of person that would definitely try any and every food if I could. But I have allergies to peanuts and shellfish, which are two big things here. Peanuts thankfully aren't as big, but sometimes you can end up getting a dish that you might not think that you shouldn't think has peanuts in it, and then it does. And so yeah, I've had to be more careful. Thankfully, I have teammates that check on that for me because if I didn't, I might have died already. Because I tend to just be like, oh yeah, there's no peanuts in this, I'll eat it. It's like, well, maybe you should ask first. So that and shellfish kind of prohibit me from trying as much as I would like to. But yeah, there's a lot of rice and shellfish and chicken, and there's when it comes to things that aren't as popular, pork is not a thing here because it's Muslim culture, and they don't eat pork. So that's something that I didn't realize I would miss, but I actually do miss bacon. So,
Yeah, bacon's really good. So I guess getting a little more deep, how do you maintain like your relationships like with your teammates and like maintain good relationships?
it's more just like intentionality. It's easy with the people that I see like regularly, the people that I work with on a weekly basis because we have to get together to plan and we'll usually hang out together in that sense. But when it comes to building other relationships with other team members that I may not see on a regular basis, it's just being intentional. And so that's something that I'm still working on is the balance of like, homework and like men, my job here and taking care of myself and getting proper rest and like team dynamics and trying to keep and build those friendships. So yeah, it's just sometimes just thinking like, okay, I need to do homework, but I also want to spend time with people. So why don't we go to a coffee shop and do it together? And so it's just little things like that, just more so being intentional and finding ways to do it all together. Salamat malam, Sarah. Love you too. Sorry, I'm bad at this. I'm reading the
No,
comments.
you're good. Um, yeah, so with friendships, how do you find um like cross-cultural relationships and like cultivating those?
Those have those can be difficult sometimes. Like making friends in general is not hard because people, especially when they hear you're from like America will usually be like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to see you again," and we'll get like WhatsApp numbers or whatever and talk. And so like making friends is not hard. It's just sometimes I found maintaining relationships and making time, like I said, just making time for people in general when the schedule can be so busy. And sometimes just with the cultural difference and a language barrier, it's not as big as it was because I do speak more of the language now, thankfully. But it can just be difficult to sometimes pin down, like, okay, when can I see you and what are we going to do and what time is it? Because how the language that I'm learning, Bahasa, how it's set up, is you have to be a little more like specific. Like it's not a specific language, so you have to ask more like clarifying questions in order to get to the point. So it's just a little harder when it comes to actually seeing people and setting up times in that way. And that's just like I think the biggest challenge for me so far. But um, it is definitely great though, the friendships that I've made and the people I've gotten to know because they're just very caring and sweet and want to make sure that you're comfortable here and take you to different places that they like and show you like different foods or whatever. So yeah, it's been a good process, even though it can be challenging at times to actually, make meetups happen.
Okay. And I guess because I remember like you were going uh, having language classes. I don't know if you still are, but what does like learning the language look like?
Yes, so I am still learning the language. Thankfully, that hasn't stopped because I'd be in trouble if it was. I have a private tutoring session once a week and then a group class once a week. And so that it's at a language school here. So I have language teachers who are, natives to this area. And we go through a series of textbooks, and in the beginning, we had assignments that we would go and do. Like we'd have to go to a mall and maybe ask for directions or meet several people and get to know their names and their ages and if they were married and, the like little things that we learned in the beginning. So that was a little intimidating at first, is realizing that, oh, okay, I just learned this today. Now I need to go and talk to people. Like that was a little scary at first, but it was also a lot of fun because it did challenge us and, you know, it made you use what you learned and that helped solidify it in my mind. But yeah, language now is not as involved. It's definitely building on what I learned in the beginning because in the first 4 months it was constant language class. I had it 4 days a week and every week for like 4 months. And so we built a good foundation and now it's just kind of building on that every week. And of course, using it more because I am more in the community right now. So I get more of my practice in just daily conversation and interaction with people and texting too with different friends. And so, yeah, it can be hard because like I'm realizing the more I learn a different language, especially constantly use, the more I forget any of the languages that I know. And so it's just like even English sometimes just does not come easy anymore. And it's like, where'd the word go? I don't know, but it's not in my brain. So
Yeah, that's that's gotta be really hard sometimes.
yeah, it can be frustrating. It's also just funny though, because it's like, yeah, it feels like you just don't know anything. Hi, mommy.
Have you had any uh awkward experiences like either with language or just with like the culture or anything?
Yeah, so my awkward experiences with language. I know a lot of people have stories of like saying the wrong thing. I don't really have that. My stories are more of just saying nothing at all, which can be embarrassing when someone's asked you a question and you suddenly just forget how to speak. That's like the worst feeling for me. And it just stems from what I said of just like having all this information in your head and then suddenly when you need to use it, it's just like gone. And yeah, I don't know. It happens too many times for me. It's like I have good comprehension at this point, so I can understand a lot of what's being said. It's just responding. And it's like, somebody may rattle off a question or whatever, and I'm just standing there, I'm like, oh, I know what you said. I don't know how to respond. Like, I know how to respond, but the words are not coming to mind right now. And then it'll be like afterward, I'll remember, like, oh, I know how to say that. It's very simple. It just suddenly left my brain right when I needed to use it. And I don't know if it's just like instant stage fright in front of the person that you're speaking to. But yeah, it can be awkward though, because they'll just look at you. And thankfully, here people just laugh things off. So you'll like just smile and laugh and be like, yeah, I don't know what's going on.
That's really interesting because that actually happens to me a lot with just English. So
Yeah, I know. It's like generally I'm an outgoing person, but here it's been more so that I'm more shy just because I would talk if I remembered how to say things more often. But yeah, it can be hard when, brain isn't working exactly how you want it to.
um, so what like before what classes that you've taken do you think have helped you most while being on internship?
You mean classes I took before I came here or classes I'm taking now?
Um, you can do either or,
Okay.
but I guess you can start with like classes the before you came
Okay, yeah, sure. Hey, Victoria. So I need to stop looking
in.
at the
It's
comments.
fine.
So classes I took before that definitely have helped since coming here. Some are just the more cultural ones, uh, that involved like talking through things about working with different. I don't remember the names of classes right now. For the life of me, I can't remember the names of them. But it's one that I took in sophomore year, where we just went over a bunch of like different scenarios of like interacting with people from different religions or cultures, and like they were hypothetical situations, but you'd have to discuss it with your team and figure out like what you would actually do. And it just made me think a lot about like what actually happened when I got over here. And so I think those helped to just kind of get me into the mindset of working in a different culture and getting to know people who have a different worldview than I do and just see the world differently in general. And the classes that cultural anthropology, thank you, that is correct.
Oh my
Could
god.
not remember that. Yes, so cultural anthropology, very helpful. I liked that class. And so since I've been here, actually a lot of the Bible classes that I've done, we started with Philippians and now we're doing James, have been very, very good. And it's so weird that it just ties into what like I'm experiencing or things that I might be going through personally right now. Just a constant reminder to like love others more than yourself or whatever, and being just like the light of Christ and everything. And so those classes have definitely helped me, like, reframe my perspective and put it on what actually matters. And that's been very good and helpful. And definitely nice to have like a refreshing aspect to your actual college courses, like spiritually and mentally refreshing. So that's been, yeah, those are the classes that I think have been very beneficial since I've been here.
Okay. And yeah, that's really awesome about. But what is something that has like impacted you spiritually while overseas?
And that's a loaded question. I honestly would say everything. And I know that some like might sound like a cheap answer, but it honestly is everything has affected me spiritually. Sometimes I think that it's easy for us to like in our mind separate like spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical, but in general, like they're all so connected. And that's one thing that I've learned since being here is things that you may think that would only be like, oh yeah, that's just like my, uncomfortable being in a different space physically, but it affects you spiritually and mentally and emotionally. And I think just too being in a different culture where it's not, Christianity is not the popular thing. It's not like the top religion. It's just a spiritually heavy place. So you can feel that in a different way where things are a little bit harder in that sense because it's just like, you know, I might pray or whatever or try to spend time with God, and these things just feel they're just different than what they were before when I was at home or whatever. I like it may seem like, okay, I don't really hear God as much or whatever when it's just in a different way. So having to relearn how to, like, I guess, still be in relationship with Christ in a different setting that's so different, but like the spiritual environment is so different. That's been probably the hardest thing because it's a lot harder than I expected it to be. And I didn't realize that you would actually feel the difference. It's like, yeah, duh, it's going to be different, but it's just different in a different way, if that makes any sense. So it's just like that heaviness that's here or whatever, and still trying to break through and be like, no, I know I'm being heard. It's just it's a little harder to have that same connection with God or like that same spiritual, I guess, healthiness and vibrancy. And that's why I would advise anyone who's going overseas for an extended period of time, especially those preparing to go on internships soon, is to really just get into the Word of God. Like, that's something that a past intern told me before I left, and I don't think I took it as seriously as I should have because you really don't realize the difficulty of it until you actually step foot in a new place. And it's like, whoa, okay, here it is, here's the reality. And having that connection and the word hidden inside your heart and just knowing that you can go to God at any time, and even if you may not be hearing him how you used to, that he is still there. And having that firm foundation is the most beneficial thing for anyone in this kind of context. And so that's definitely something that I've learned and still trying to get into those healthy habits of doing it and reading the Bible and praying, even when it seems kind of pointless because you don't feel like you're getting anything out of it. Like, it really is refreshing you, even though you may not feel it and you may not know it. And it's still just very, very beneficial and the best thing that we can do for ourselves here. So, yeah.
Thank you for that. That's definitely some advice that I need. But someone actually asked a question earlier that I wanted to ask. It was a really good question. Underscore Sparkin asked, what's something you'll definitely take back from internship?
I honestly, I joke with people when I say I'm just going to be a totally different person by the time I get back because there's so many things that have changed for me so far, and I'm only almost 6 months in. I definitely want to take back, like I said, just the value for people that they have in this culture. And, not just certain people. I want to just have that same value for like everyone I encounter, from like the least of these to people that may seem important or whatever, and just be the kind of person that would open my house up to anyone and take the time to really talk to people and see how they're doing and not just pass them by. And, it's just, that is definitely something I want to take back, and I want to be like fully changed in that way to where, yeah, I'm just focusing more on who's here in the present and not necessarily on what the next task is or what I should be doing or maybe what I would prefer to do in that moment too. That's definitely something I've learned with relationships here is sometimes people may just drop by and it's like one time I was getting ready for bed, like I had a towel on my head, I was in my pajamas and one of my friends, like local friends, just dropped by, was one of her friends and I, still had to open the door and let them in and talk to them for a bit and so those little things is just learning to have a value for people and being there for them when they need it. Is definitely something I want to take back with me. So,
That's really cool. Uh, well, thank you for talking with me. I think that's all the questions that I have. But thank you for that. And
yeah, thanks for having me, interviewing me. Yeah, it was really cool to talk to you and get to talk a little bit more about internship so far. And good to see your face because it's been a little while.
good to see you too. Mhm.
We've got the two Colemans online right now.
Yep.
Two of the Colemans. So yeah, there weren't any other comments or questions from anybody, right?
Not that I saw. Oh,
Oh, what's your favorite things
what's
about Bethany Global? My favorite thing about BGU would be the community, which I think it may be a lot of people's answer, but it really is just a sweet community and the friendships that I've made and people that I've been able to be mentored by and just have come alongside me are people that I will cherish forever. And I'm really thankful for that. It's just yeah, it's a different kind of place and I'm thankful for those connections and also just the teaching that I've gotten so far. It's literally changed my life because anybody who knows me knows that I did not plan this for myself. So, yeah, that's definitely been my favorite thing about BGU. Someone just asked, how is the school? Is it hard to get
hard to
in?
get in?
I would say it's not hard to get in.
Yeah,
It,
it's not.
it's not hard at all. They work with you very much. Yeah, just help you out and get into the admission process. That is something, of course, that you'd have to talk more with an admission counselor about, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty good place, so you should check it out. So yeah, I'm not gonna make you go on longer though. I know that this is probably the end of the interview.
Yeah. So yeah, just thank you again. Oh, cool. They're going to apply. That's so cool. But
Great, Jules Johnson.
so thank you for talking with me, Ariana, and I will definitely be talking with you soon. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you, and
So yeah, it's night where you are, so I would say Salamat Malam. That is good night, and it's morning where I am. So you would say Salamat Pagi to me. Try it.
salamat pagi. Is
Salamat Pagi. Good job. Yeah. Salamat Malam to you. I love you. He's my brother. For those of you all coming on, that's what I'm saying. I love him. Just to not be any. This is my baby brother. um, but yeah, and we love our mom too, who just said she loves us both. So. So yeah, I will talk to you later. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
you're welcome. Yes, it was. Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. So yeah, that was great. That's all we have. Thank you for joining this live stream, and I will see a lot of you later. And yeah, it was really cool to talk with her, see how internship's going, and yeah, bye.